Welcome back to the South African Rally Championship, a place where you'll find some of the toughest racing drivers on the planet doing battle in some of the fastest and most fearsome off-road racing monsters you can find. This is the penultimate round of the 2025 season, and all the action is brought to you by Ford, ICAM, #Team Hilux and Falcon Tires. So far in 2025, the South African Rally Championship has paid visits to the various challenges you'll find in Gauteng, the Free State and even the Western Cape. For round 5, the action reaches the rolling hills, forests and plantations of KwaZulu-Natal and the farming areas surrounding the northern KZN town of Vryheid, to be specific. After the Millie Fields, flat farmlands and the Rocky Mountain tracks the crews encountered so far in 2025, the KZN scenery would provide a new and unique backdrop to host the next battle in this championship war. And speaking of battles, today the town is known for its coal mining, cattle ranching and forestry, but it was very much in the midst of the Anglo-Zulu War and all of the battles that took place in and around this area a century and a half ago. The Rally HQ and designated service park was set at the Vryheid airfield on the edge of town. Not only a perfect backdrop, but perfectly situated to access both the amenities offered by the town, but easy access to the forests and farms that host the 400 kilometers of racing. Something that has become part and parcel of the South African Rally Championship is the integration of all the elements that make such an event so special, besides just the action part of it. These include fun and entertainment at the designated service park, the now customary VIP hospitality where guests enjoy the action courtesy of series partners ICAM, and displays by sponsors such as tool giant Inco. And speaking of partners and sponsors, SARC Chairman Archie Rutherford was happy to welcome a new partner to the Rally Raid scene.
It's very exciting for us to have VAPS on board, VAPS HCV. They're new partners to the series for us, so we hope they have a long and fruitful relationship with us and partnership with us.
Here's the VAPS HCV boss, Aubrey Olivier, with a bit more detail.
Yeah, so we are basically a trucking insurance company. So we insure trucks. For us, it's 100% a marketing initiative, but then we're racing as well, you know. So that's the fun part.
But having a passion for the sport and supporting it is clearly not enough for Olivier, who together with his brother Ian is now also competing in it at national level from behind the wheel of one of Redline Motorsport's trusty VK50 machines.
So yeah, it's childhood dreams basically coming true for us. So that's why my brother's also my navigator, you know. So we're enjoying it at the moment. It's fun. It's lots of fun for us.
Exciting times for the sport with new teams and new partners. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the VAPS HCV Vryheid 400, let's take a moment to see how the championship stacked up coming into round 5. After a consistent run that included valuable points at all 4 previous rounds, it was youngster Sahud Variawa who topped the standings with a tally of 80 points. Margins were small though, as only 4 points separated the Toyota young gun from his Ford foe Gareth Woolridge, and that with legendary driver Janelle de Villiers just a further 8 points adrift. Guy Bottrell occupies 4th ahead of the Ford of Brazilian driver Marcus Wormgaard. Behind the leading pack followed a number of very fast and determined crews, such as Forshia Blickner in 6th, ahead of Namibian driver Marco Himmel in 7th, and the leading adventurer class contender Johan van Staden in 8th. Despite not reaching the finish of the previous round, Boris Prinsloo and Gary Berthold still maintained positions inside the top 10. We caught up with some of the main players on the leaderboard just before the start. Marco Himmel is a Namibian, but with a healthy lead in the T1 Plus SA class.
Yeah, I think it's nice. We're quite a big lead now, so the pressure is not that much at the moment.
After nearly 3 decades in the sport, it must be no surprise that Janelle de Villiers once again finds himself in a battle for yet another South African title.
All to play for, we'll try and keep our heads down and do our best.
Gareth Woolridge is another former South African champion who had his sights set on adding more titles, but the man is very much aware of the challenges.
Yeah, it's very tight. Last race we had a good result, thankfully. So we'd had some trouble and we had a clean race. Obviously, the win would have been better, make the gap a bit bigger.
But as has been the case for most of the season, the man out in front with the target on his back was none other than Tuada Yangan Sahud Vryheid, who is also on a mission to add a rally raid title to the ones he's already won in circuit racing.
The weather is not looking the best, but we'll try our best, hopefully maintain a gap and obviously push.
Back at the Vryheid airfield, it was almost go time. It may have been only 17 kilometers in length, but as in any form of motorsport, qualifying is crucial. Known as the Falcon Wild Peak Prologue, the qualifying race would not only count towards the overall race time, but the result would also be used to determine the starting positions for the main race. Time to go racing. As always, qualifying may have been short, but it was intense. Add to this a tight and technical route that left little to zero margin for error, and it lived up to its reputation. They say you can't win the overall race in qualifying, but you can certainly lose it, and a number of the crews did. The roads inside the plantations are narrow and there are lots of them, which made navigation quite tricky, leading to a number of crews wrong slotting and getting lost. When the times were added, it was Team Hilux Rally Raid's Johan and Van Horn who set the 10th fastest time in their Hilux. In fact, the Horn brothers equaled the time set by the sister car of team boss Fushia Blickno and his brother Battis. The pair of Hiluxes were just 2 seconds slower than the next car up the road belonging to Namibian Marco Himmel and Francois Schoonby. The pinnacle of rally raid racing is clearly a family affair. Beside the Horn and the Blickno brothers, you also have the Vryheid brothers, but they were both in their own respective cars. Vryheid Jr., better known as Sahad, and alongside Zahir Badanya, made his national debut by qualifying in 7th, just 9 seconds behind older brother Sahud Vryheid, with little Frenchman Francois Cazelet reading the notes in the second Toyota Gazoo Racing SA Hilux. Up into the top 5 we'd go, and stopping the clock with the 5th fastest time was popular Ermelo businessman Vos Prinsloo and the experienced Andre Vermeulen from behind the wheel of their Castrol NWM Ford Rally Raid Ranger. The race started well for the Ford squad, who would end up with no less than 3 cars in the top 5. Beating Prinsloo by 12 seconds was the sister car of Brazilians Marcus Baumgart and Kleber Cincia. This was now nearing the sharp end of the field, so youngster Jaden Els, sitting alongside Johan Swemmer, would have been pretty pleased with their performance. The Redline Revo GTR set the 3rd fastest time, but there was still a bit of breathing space between the youngster and the car that qualified in 2nd. That car was the 3rd of the Team Hilux Rally Raid Hiluxes, belonging to Janelle de Villiers and Dennis Murphy. De Villiers beat the youngster by 19 seconds, but this only highlighted the great performance by the crew who claimed the qualifying race win in their Castrol NWM Ford. Gareth Woolridge and Boyd Dreyer managed to beat the De Villiers time by another 14 seconds. A perfect start to the penultimate round for the former champions. Confirmation of the Falcon Wild Peak Prologue results. Gareth Woolridge topped the charts, following a perfect performance. He was 14 seconds clear of De Villiers, who in turn had a gap of 19 seconds to youngster Jaden Els. The Fords, driven by Baumgart and Prinsloo, rounded out the top 5. There were few notable names in the bottom half of the leaderboard, like championship points leader Vryheid, who was leading his younger brother by 9 seconds. Himmel was in the first of the T1 Plus SA cars and in 8th, followed by the 2 Hilux Rally Raid teammates of the Blicknos and the Horn brothers. The next order of business, the all-important draw for the top 10. More often than not, the starting position can be a determining factor, especially in tricky conditions such as these. The top 10 get to choose in reverse order. So no surprise that 10th fastest in qualifying drew the short straw of opening the road. This unenviable task belonged to the Horn brothers, while the fast qualifiers chose positions further down. De Villiers picked 4th with Woolridge in 6th. He was to be followed by the 2 Vryheid brothers. For now, it was all a gamble, and no one knew exactly what the best starting position would be. But before we get to stage 1 of the VAPS HCV Vryheid 400, let's take a moment to hear about the unsung heroes of the sport, whose contributions are crucial to the successful running of an event like this.
we've been very grateful for Ford. Thank goodness for them. They do our pre-runs and our recce's of the route. So those Ford Rangers and Raptors do the whole route. Yeah, it's very exciting. Inco have been on board. We met with Inco a week or two ago, and they're back on board for next year. So yeah, exciting times for Rally Raid.
The starting order was set and the farmland roads were ready to host stage 1 of the race, a 56-kilometer loop to the southwest of the town and on very tricky roads, and that with an ominous thunderstorm brewing in the background. Nevertheless, the action got underway with the Team Hilux Rally Raid Hilux of the Horn brothers from Malalan, the first to tackle stage 1. Opening the road is never easy, especially on these type of roads, and the poor Horns paid a hefty price by losing almost 6 minutes over the course of the 56-kilometer stage. And speaking of losing minutes, let's see how many minutes were lost when the Brazilian crew of Marcus Boomgaard and Clever Sincere were forced to change one of those giant flat wheels on their Castrol NWM Ford. How you start the stage is one thing, but it's how you finish that really matters. And on this event, the title fight for honours in the adventurer class also became a fight for race honours here in Vryheid. The fight in question is the one between Johan de Bruin and Adrian Roots in their Redline Revo T1. And Johan and his son Sean van Staden in the trusty old Renault Duster. Van Staden got the first punch in by beating de Bruin by 17 seconds. They were 10 and 9th respectively because the Redline Revo T1 Plus of Philip Wood and Stompy Maynard were quite a bit faster to claim 8th at the crucial part of the race. We were now already nearing the sharp end of the field where a number of extremely fast crews were fighting for top positions, like Vos Prinsloo and Andre Vermeulen in the third Castrol NWM Ford Rally Raid Ranger. Ahead of Prinsloo, the Toyota Gazoo Racing SA Hilux of championship points leader Saud Vryheid and his French navigator Francois Cazelet. The Toyota Young Gun would have hoped for a better result.
Yeah, unfortunately got lost for a bit, so we're 2 minutes down on overall, but I think we have a decent road position for tomorrow.
Ahead of Vryheid, teammate Guy Bartrell and Spanish co-driver Oriol Mena, who finished stage 1 around a minute ahead of their teammates, but still around 40 seconds behind the next car up the road.
You know, if you've got a good car, a good navigator, and you can push hard, anything is possible.
That next car was a Redline Revo and belonged to youngster Jaden Els and Navi Johan Swemmer. Els is a real talent and one of the future stars of the sport, but he ended the day in 4th. Just 2 single seconds behind the hashtag Team Hilux Rally Raid car brothers Fouchier and Bertus Blickno, who in fact set the fastest time of all on stage 1. When combined with the qualifying race, the Blicknos were in a provisional 3rd place.
Oh, look, it was a tough qualifying for us this morning. We knew we had to push for this loop to make up some time. I think we had a very good run.
The Blicknos were around half a minute behind their teammates Janelle de Villiers and Dennis Murphy, who for the umpteenth time in their careers found themselves near the top of the standings. But the 2 men at the very top of the standings were none other than Castrol NWM Ford's Gareth Woolridge and Boyd Dreyer, who put in a powerful performance to end the day with a comfortable overall lead of 26 seconds.
Still leading going in tomorrow, but not a very big gap, so we're going to have to fight tomorrow.
Let's check on those results one more time. After the qualifying race and the opening stage of the VAPS HCV Vryheid 400, it was Ford's Gareth Woolridge who topped the standings ahead of the Team Hilux teammates de Villiers and Blickno. Els was in 4th, just a further 2 seconds drift with the TGR Hilux of Bartrell rounding out the top 5. He was followed by teammate Vryheid, Vos Prinsloo and Philip Werter. The fight for adventurer class honours between Van Staden and de Bruin was also a fight for an overall top 10. Back at the DSP at the Vryheid airfield, it was time to repair and prepare the racing machines for the remainder of the race. Time for the drivers and navigators to replenish some of their energy levels, while the technicians were hard at work swinging spanners and bringing the machinery back to life. And speaking of swinging spanners,
Chris, I'm from Inca. We are exhibitioning our products here at the Rally Raid. We are one of the main sponsors of the Rally Raid competition this year, showcasing our products and just enjoying the day with everybody else.
And this was it, the final day of the penultimate round of the 2025 South African Rally Raid Championship, a day that could be instrumental in the overall outcome of the championship. And it was lining up to be a tough title fight between Janiel de Villiers, Gareth Woolridge and the current points leader, Sahud Variawa, with all to play for. And this was the battlefield for the Saturday. 2 identical loops of 160 kilometers each in the KZN battlefields. The stage was set for a healthy dose of blistering pace, heartbreak, and a display of real rally raid sportsmanship. These are some of the stories that defined the weekend, as well as a countdown of the top 10 finishes. Making his national debut, young Sahud Variawa showed flashes of serious talent before turbo problems struck twice in stages 1 and 2. The Toyota Gazoo racing crew retired early, but expect him to be a name near the top in the near future.
Yeah, as we started the stage, everything was fine. 3Ks into the lap, we had an issue with the boost, so decided to just find the main road, come back.
And a bit of a nostalgic reunion for Gary Berthold and his longtime navigator Philip Hasselman, returning to the cockpit together. Despite early struggles in qualifying, their race ended prematurely when the rear differential started failing.
Really disappointing. I think we were on it, making up some great time. Philip was doing a fantastic job with the navigating and very uncharacteristic, but seems like this T1 Plus Hilux has blown a rear diff.
Namibia's Marco Himmel was favourite to take his class win, but car sickness on the rough Vryheid terrain hampered his pace and took him out of contention this time round. Young Jaden Els and Johan Swemme in the Redline Revo had high hopes of fighting for a podium, and early on in stage 2 he was well within striking distance. But it all came to an unhappy end.
The engine belt came off, everything just gets hot, there's no power steering, so basically we won't get very far.
This is the crew that started the day in 3rd position. The rise of Fischer and Batis Blickner over the last few years was truly remarkable. But unfortunately for the big man, his good run of form was going to be interrupted here in Vryheid.
No, we actually had a good run up till kilometer 30. We experienced some mechanical issues with the gearbox, and then I cut the corner and we fell in a ditch.
So no finish for Blickner, but good news for the event sponsors Aubrey and Eon Olivier, and the sister car Piet Victor and Van Zyl York. Both VAPS HCV Redline VK50s reached the finish in Vryheid, which must have provided some satisfaction for the passionate bunch. Mechanical trouble almost ended their race when the steering rack failed in stage 2. But Johan van Staden and son Sean refused to give up, repairing the car and continuing to the finish. In an incredible show of sportsmanship, Van Staden later stopped to hand over a spare drive shaft to Johan de Bruyn, his rival in the same class. A remarkable act that defined the spirit of the weekend, and one that saw de Bruyn reach the finish in 13th, keeping this class title fight very much alive. Donnie Ludwig had strong pace through the closing stages, as he and Denzel Williamson clawed back some lost time to finish just outside the top 10. Back in action after missing much of the season, Nikus Heinlein and Jaco Kriel delivered a measured drive. Clean stages and clever teamwork rewarded the pair with 10th overall, a solid return to form. Just ahead, the son and father crew of Gerard and Rudy Heinlein put in one of their strongest showings of the year, finishing 9th overall in their Redline VK56 after a tidy, trouble-free run. In 8th place, Philip Woert and Andries Maynard once again showed consistency and pace. Despite the tight competition, the Redline Motorsport pairing held steady to secure another valuable top 10 result. For Guy Bottrell and Spanish navigator Oriol Mena, Vryheid was a cruel twist of fate. Leading comfortably heading into the final stage, a differential issue slowed their Toyota Gazoo Racing Hilux dramatically, dropping them from potential victory down to 7th overall. A bitter blow for the title contender. Sixth overall went to Vos Prinsloo and Andre Vermeulen for the Castrol NWM Ford Rally Raid team. They might have finished higher, but in a display of real sportsmanship, Vos stopped mid-stage to help Fischer Blickner, whose Toyota had overturned. Even with the lost time, Prinsloo still brought the Ford home in a fine 6th position overall. Brazil's Marcos Baumgart and Clever Sincere continued their strong South African campaign with a faultless drive to 5th overall. The Castrol NWM Ford pairing were consistent throughout the weekend, keeping clear of trouble to bank vital points for the international contingent. In 4th, the Horn brothers, Johan and Vanna, produced one of the standout performances of the event. Starting way down the field on Saturday, they charged through the dust, overtaking car after car to finish just 10 minutes off the podium. And first in their class, a truly heroic drive for the hashtag Team Hilux Rally.
Yeah, we like the tight and tricky stuff. But yeah, it's rough out there. We've got to concentrate to stay on the route.
A truly heroic drive for hashtag Team Hilux Rally Raid. Another steady podium for Janelle de Villiers and Dennis Murphy. The hashtag Team Hilux Rally Raid crew lost too much time on day one to challenge for the win, but showed excellent pace on Saturday to close to within a minute of second place. Their final time, 6 hours, 20 minutes and 19 seconds, earned them valuable championship points heading into the finale.
Unfortunately, we made too many mistakes this morning, and that cost us, the race in the end.
In second, Sahud Variawa and Francois Cazelet bounced back from a tricky start that included a few early mistakes. Once they found their rhythm, the Toyota Gazoo racing crew stormed through the stages, finishing just 53 seconds behind the winners, keeping him very much in the title fight heading into the season finale.
Yeah, it's a pity. If we look how close it was, I think we just lost the race by like 30-something seconds or so. So obviously the pace is there, but we'll push in the last round.
But the day and the event belonged to Gareth Woolridge and Boyd Dreyer. Opening the road is never easy, but Woolridge handled it brilliantly, setting the pace from the front despite heavy dust and heat. By the end, he was nearly dehydrated, but his effort was rewarded with a superb victory and a vital championship lead for Castrol NWM Ford Rally Raid. Their total time 6 hours, 18 minutes and 43 seconds, sealing the win by less than a minute.
I think one of the toughest I've done, especially this year. It was tough already, a lot of timber, so there was nowhere to let off at all. And it's nice to now be back in the lead and make it a bit easier going into the last race.
While the leading cars were reaching the safety of the DSP and Vryheid, organisers were forced to halt the race on the final stage after 133 kilometres due to a severe rainstorm. The force majeure rule was applied, and with more than 75% of the route completed, competitors would still earn full points for the event. And this is what the results revealed. A 53-second victory for Ford's Gareth Woolridge over title rival Sahud Variawa in his Toyota. The victory also changed the points table, with Woolridge now topping the standings. De Villiers records yet another podium finish ahead of the Horns, who had a fantastic race. Brazilian driver Baumgart in his Ford rounded out the top 5. And that was that for the VAPS HCV Vryheid 400, the penultimate chance for SA's best racing drivers to fight for championship glory. Just one round remains, one final chance for these warriors to try and get their hands on one of SA's most coveted motorsport prizes. The final battlefield has been chosen. The Bushveld in and around the town of Thabazimbi. The battle will be called the Northam Zonderende Bushveld 400, and it will decide everything.